If you have never had the opportunity of being deaf for a second, you will never appreciate hearing. And if you've never had an opportunity of being blind for just 2 seconds, you will really not appreciate vision. And then coming to think of the fact of you having a twin disability, like a dual disability, not hearing and not seeing, but against all odds, you strive to be the best at every given opportunity. Then let me tell you something. You become top in class, topping all the persons who do not have a disability. That is the story of Solomon today on Against All Odds. We will be back very shortly. Don't go away. The program is Against All Odds, and my name is Dushima Pius Ikiravi.
This is Against All Odds.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, the program is Against All Odds on the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA. And I am here today with Solomon, a deafblind, someone who against all the odds against him, refused to be conquered by his condition. He forged ahead to become who he wants to become. Today, Solomon is someone to reckon with, and he's here with us on Against All Odds. Grab your drink and your bowl of popcorn and let's pop this together. It's Against All Odds. Solomon Okelola has a master's degree in special education and rehabilitation science from the University of Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria. He grew up with both vision and hearing impairment. Solomon could not see to a large extent with his left eye until he finally lost his residual vision 13 years ago. He is presently blind and hard of hearing. To bridge the communication gap, Solomon learned several methods of communicating, using the voice note on his phone and earpods, and use of a special interpreter, and also the use of a hearing aids.
This is Against All Odds.
Tell us, how has life been? Just a bit of everything from the beginning, how you were able to cope from the point that you lost your sight and then you had problems with your hearing, because you're visually impaired and you're also hard on hearing. How has it been for you coping with twin disability?
Thank you so much for the question. Actually, as everybody can imagine, life without sight or hearing can be very, very difficult, especially considering the fact that those are the two primary organs of the body. I've always been low vision and hard of hearing as far back as I can remember, right from my nursery and primary school days. Of course, it wasn't easy, and especially in a regular school, no special teachers. Back then, we didn't even know anything about special education. And from an early age, I realized one thing, that I had a choice. It was either I let my situation determine what I do, or I try to master my situation. Because growing up, I loved to read. And I came to realize that I was facing severe difficulties in school because of the fact I couldn't hear my teachers, I couldn't see what they were writing on the board and all that. Back then, during the time I was low vision, I had to, if I want to write my notes in class, I had to get up from my deck, walk forward to the chalkboard, begin from the first line, I read, I go back to my deck, write what I've read, go back to the chalkboard again, continue from the second line over and over again. Number one, that was kind of slow. And secondly, I usually obscure my maid view of the board, and it was inconvenient for them. So I decided I had to find another way. Whenever they were having a particular class, I can go to the library to read, or I'll just sit in the class with them, not hearing the teacher, not seeing what was on the board. When they finish the first class, I'll collect the notes from one of my mates to write my own note while they go on with the second class. That was easier for everybody, although it left me a class, kind of a class behind others. So that was how I started writing my note and copied with my love for reading and all that. In short, I read my way through everything in the library during the time I left my class, my mates in the class. And from there, I started kind of discovering my writing skill. And it also helped me whenever it came to answering, writing my tests, my exams and all that. Gradually, I started gaining weight. I started gaining my weight ahead of my classmates. People around me thought I had nothing to offer the society because of my combination of vision and hearing loss. But the more I saw people around me saw me as nothing, the more I became determined to show them that I have something.
A gradual loss of two vital parts of the body, hearing and sight, was not a pill Solomon's mom swallowed with ease. Discovering daily that her son was going deaf and blind was a bad dream she needed to wake up from. Solomon, who was devastated and suicidal, had to advise himself that he will never be another failure whose story will be printed on the pages of magazines. And so he decided to change the narrative. He took the bulls by the horn and faced his fears.
And I'm grateful for the support I got from my late mother and especially my siblings also. They really believed in me. And with that belief they had in me, plus the confidence I had in myself, and from the way I came to know and I came to exercise faith in God right from an early age, I decided no matter what might be, whatever life might be my way, I was going to show that I could really be the best no matter what. So with that decision, going through school, I maintained my position as one of the best in class until I gained admission in the University of Ibadan to study special education. Along the way, when I was at my 300 level, I started experiencing trouble in my sight again. I started running around, trying to see what could be done. I was told I need 2.5 million naira for a surgery. I couldn't get the surgery. I couldn't get the money on time, and so that was how I lost my sight. Actually, the association, what do they call them? Academic Staff Union of Universities were on strike at that period between June to November 2009. And so when I realized there was nothing I could do about my sight, I had to try to pull myself together. It was a really trying period. All of a sudden, the world went black. I really wondered if I could be able to continue. I really wondered if I could be able to maintain my position as the best in class, because for my 200 level, I was leading my mates also at the best in the class. And a question came into my mind. If I should drop at this time, there was one thing people would think, that with a disability, someone's ability to excel is always affected. I did not want to pass across that idea. And so I had to struggle everything to gather myself back together again. It was far from easy, but I'm grateful to God. I was still able to maintain my position at the best in class until I graduated from my fourth degree in the year 2010, the best graduating student of the department.
Great people are born and not made. Some were born with silver spoon, while some had to work twice as hard, unlike their peers, to seek a decent living. As anyone can well imagine, growing up with both vision and hearing impairment was far from easy, especially as the vision was more or less half-eyed. Solomon had cataracts in both eyes, and it was so severe that he couldn't see anything with it. A person who is deaf-blind has a unique experience of the world. Someone is wondering, how can one person be deaf and one person be blind? Maybe you should also try to throw more light on this deaf blindness. What is it? The possible causes? Are there preventions? What can be done to avoid this?
That blindness implies a combination of vision and hearing loss together. Now, the combination of four major categories. We have those who are totally blind and hard of hearing, like myself. We have those who are totally deaf but with low vision. We have those they have both low vision and they are hard of hearing. That means they still have some residual sight and hearing. And we have those who are totally blind and totally deaf. Now, if you want to talk of the causes of deaf blindness, the major cause of deaf blindness worldwide is what we call Usher syndrome. That's a USHER, Usher syndrome. Usher syndrome is actually a genetic disorder which occurs as a result of a gene mutation. And for an individual to inherit Usher syndrome, the individual must inherit the 40 gene from both parents. If the individual inherits a 40 gene from one parent and a normal gene from the other parent, he or she becomes a carrier. And carriers do not show any sign of vision or hearing loss. Now, when you talk of Usher syndrome, in our nation today, we don't have the technical know-how, we don't have the equipment necessary for genetic testing to identify Usher syndrome. That is why it is very, very easy for carriers to come together by accident. And should the offspring inherit the 40 gene from both sides, end up with Usher syndrome, which manifests in vision loss, hearing loss, and a loss of body balance. Like I said before, carriers do not show any symptoms. Just like those who are genotype AS do not show any symptom of sickle cell anemia. That's another reason why it's so difficult to identify. Now, the major feature of Usher syndrome is what we call retinitis pigmentosa. That is a gradual degeneration of the retina until only the ability to see straight ahead remains. Eventually, might result to might result to total blindness. And also, the hearing loss begins at a very early age. And sometimes it is possible, whether the individual has type 1, type 2, or type 3 Usher syndrome, some individuals might be able to benefit from hearing aids just like I. But others, because of the low level of the hearing, won't be able to do that.
Life is a journey. You will lose some and gain some. The zeal to keep moving and believing that only the strong can survive. Solomon's relationship took a twist, but it didn't break him. A lot of people today are in school and they're complaining, I can't cope, I can't do this, and they are persons without disabilities. This is someone with a twin disability who told himself, I will not give up. I will not give up. I must prove to the society that I can. Solomon, I remember at the point when you were battling with your sight. That was the same point that your fiance's parents told you that you can't go on with their daughter because the tribe was not sane. How did you handle that aspect? And talk to us a bit about relationship before we deviate to something else.
Just before I lost my sight, that was like 3 months before I lost my sight, I actually broke up from the lady with whom I was in a relationship then, mostly because we were not of the same tribe and not of the same church also. Actually, it wasn't easy, of course, the usual heartache and all that, and then till I was still much far younger, and I didn't have so much experience and all that. It wasn't easy, and I was still trying to deal with that at the time my sight started going. So it became kind of a double. It became kind of a double issue to deal with. Well, like I said, it was far from easy. It was far from easy. There was a poem. There was a particular poem I wrote then, of which one of my best friends saw that poem. He attached himself a personal bodyguard to me, and he refused to leave me, fearing I might do something to myself.
Some stories in the past sounded like fairy tales. Stories like that of Helen Keller, the first American deafblind to attain education and attain the height she did, an educator, writer, and advocate for PWDs, and so many things. Today, in our time, clothed in a dark colored skin, is Solomon, a deaf-blind Nigerian, who against all odds is building bridges which links people to their destiny. The Lionheart Initiative, an organization geared towards self-realization. Solomon is the CEO of Lionhearts, an organization that caters for persons with who are deaf and blind. How far has this been able to help these people?
And so I started thinking, what do I want to do? How do I really want to achieve that goal of doing something for persons with disabilities in my society? I never got the answer until I lost my sight. I never got the idea until I lost my sight. And so from the point when I lost my sight, struggling with it, overcoming the depression and all that, that was when I got the idea of Lionheart Ability Leaders International Foundation. I started putting the plan together and all that, and that's what we present to the world today. Actually, in a nutshell, the goal of Lionheart Ability Leaders International Foundation is enlightening, educating, and empowering people for change and transformation. Learned Ability Leaders International Foundation do not focus just on persons with disabilities alone, but persons with disabilities are among our primary aim. Letting people know that disability is really nothing. The only real disability is in your mind. Whatever your situation, economic or social, physical or whatever, it is what you decide in your mind that determines you, not your situation. That is the first message we want everybody to know with Learned Ability Leaders International Foundation. And with our focus on persons with disabilities, we decided to focus first on persons with deaf blindness, mainly because of the fact that this group have been so marginalized all over Nigeria until the present day. There has been nobody standing for persons with deaf blindness, nobody talking for them, but they are still out there, individuals, equal citizens of the society, locked away in their home just because their parents and family members think they cannot do anything because of their combined vision and hearing loss. So it was with me when I was growing up, although my mom never locked me up because she believed in me, and so she showed me out to the world. Now, I want everybody to just try to understand what it is like to be without vision and hearing. Personally, it was so difficult. I will admit to everybody there was a time I considered suicide. But using my power of reflection, thinking about it, I really wondered what could it profit me. The whole world would just look at me, another failure. No, no, no. That was not what I wanted. And so with that was how I was able to get over that period. And so, like I said, that was the main reason why we decided to focus first on persons with deaf blindness, because in the disability community, there was no one standing for these people.
There stems from the fact that some blind and deaf people in the nation have been overwhelmed with constant social, political, and economic situation of the nation that they do not believe they can make it in life. Solomon grew up in such a situation.
But the more people thought he had nothing to offer because of his twin disability, the more determined he is to prove them wrong.
Solomon has a book called Against All Odds. Yes, that was actually one of the things that attracted us when we're conversing. He told me, when I told him the program is Against All Odds, he was like, wow, that's the title of his book. I'm sure we want to know a little bit about Solomon's book, Against All Odds. Solomon, can you talk to us about the book Against All Odds?
The title of the book is Against All Odds, Your Mind is the Key. In the book, I try to share through my experiences, through everything I've learned. I try to make people realize that no matter the situation in which you find yourself, you can always find a way to be the best in whatever you do. As a person with deafblindness, not being able to make complete use of the two primary senses of the body, if I be here today, then literally anybody can make it. The message of the book, in a nutshell, is all about you. It's all about you and what you want your life to be. It's all about you and what you believe you can do. Nobody, not even the devil, can force you to fail. It's all about you and how you let people influence you. It's all about you, your confidence in yourself, and your faith in Him will reign on high. That is the simple secret of success in life. It's really all about you. I'm all ready, and anybody need any word? Maybe you feel like having a word with me, or you find yourself considering suicide, or finding it difficult to go through whatever situation you might be in. I'm always ready for a talk. Anytime, any day, you can always give me a call. And very soon, before the year runs out, I hope to invite everybody to the launch of the book. Once again, all odds, no matter what might be, your mind is always the key. There's one thing they always say, no matter the disability, there is always a way. So long as you help an individual with deafblindness or any disability to have that positive self-concept, they will always find a way to get to whatever they come to. How you see me talking to my interpreter is only one way of communication with the deafblind. There are several other modes of communication. So when an individual with deafblindness learns to communicate and to express his or her feeling, is enabled to develop that self-concept, the fact that he or she can make it, and have the necessary support and accommodation in school, in the home, and in the society, the day will come when you definitely say, wow, how could such an individual go this far? But unfortunately, we don't have any specialists in the education of persons with deafblindness in Nigeria. That is one major gap I look forward to being able to fill, as I hope to go for my PhD in the education of persons with deafblindness.
This is Against All Odds.
Wow, Solomon, fantastic guy. That was our chat with Solomon. You know, I have actually learned something. For learning is a everyday thing. And when you learn something new, don't throw it away because you really don't know when you will need it. Nothing is impossible under the heavens. Everything you set your mind to do and you desire to do it, you will definitely do it. Thank you for staying with us on Against All Odds on the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA. My name is Toshima Payosikiravi. Let's do this again next week, same time, same station. Bye-bye. We love you.